What is up, everybody? This is Alex from IHE TV. And today I'm talking about I almost said the Black Phone 2, but it's, get it right, Black Phone 2. Blumhouse were like, drop the. It's very important you drop the. So I was really trying to remember a single thing about the original the Black Phone movie. Came out in a dark time for everybody. I remember the gist of it, but I was kind of in the minority of really finding it difficult to get through because I found it so sort of dull and uninteresting, and I think I continued to be in the minority with much preferring Black Phone 2. Not that it's perfect or anything, it's not the deepest, but it's kind of surface level entertaining, has some memorable moments, some cool concepts, some good imagery. I don't find Scott Derrickson to be that interesting of a writer or director. He kind of plays in the realm of serviceable. And kind of the main thing, weirdly, this is like such a deep cut, that draws me to these Scott Derrickson movies is since he started working with C. Robert Cargill, who used to be on a film review website called Spill.com, back when people actually used websites. These are the guys I really credit with getting into like talking about films on a little bit of a deeper level while trying to keep it light and comedic. And this is C. Robert Cargill's character. So I've liked seeing that transition and what's been going on with that. Let me know in the comments if you do remember this site or what have gone on now to become double toasted. But yeah, so there are a few things this film had to address because I didn't really care about it. It was quite complete, the first film. And like the other kind of big horror movie from Scott Derrickson, Sinister. Similarly, it has a lot of good concepts and this main creature, or Bagul in this case, which to me is kind of looks creepy, but when they start explaining it and calling it Bagul, it loses something for me. They do a similar thing here with the Grabber, where again, kind of a corny, silly name, but I don't know how much to take that seriously because we give real life serial killers some pretty goofy names, really, but it's kind of more the costume design and the I don't want to call it try hard, but it's like the top hat, the mask. To me, a dude who like kidnaps children is kind of scary enough. I don't know, it just feels very FNAF to me. Very creepypasta, you gotta have the big smile dog. So even though this film is longer than that first one, it did feel shorter, but still too long for what it is. But it just felt a lot more streamlined and focused and had more of an identity, especially with the use of this snowy setting. The title sequence I thought was really interesting and well put together. The ice aesthetic is a really cool through line. And a lot of the sets I loved the cold cabins that are dimly lit by these slight glow of the heaters. So if I remember correctly, the original film was set in the 70s, and with the characters and time moving forward, it's now in the 80s. So, you know, they're playing Pink Floyd, listening to cassette tapes. And thankfully, now that the characters are a bit older, there are some more consistent performances. That's one thing I do remember about the original is there's a lot of bad delivery of the dialogue, which is still somewhat of a problem here. There is some corny dialogue, but there is some kind of cool stuff too. With the Grabber talking about hell not being fiery, but icy and cold. I've been praising the production design somewhat, but here's the exact thing. The soundstage / green screen use at times is so cheap looking and flat and provides such a contrast to when they actually are on location, and it looks great, but scenes incorporating this landscape were distractingly cheap looking. And speaking of cheap, it's a fairly cheaply made film, an estimated 30 million compared to the even more modest 18 million of that first movie. But I think that's about the realm these movies should be playing in. These Blumhouse smaller horror movies that have a small amount of characters, one or two bigger actors, but limited and focused in its locations, and they pay back in dividends. And it actually worked out here, unlike M3 Gun 2, because they actually made a sequel to the film in the same tone and genre. I brought up Sinister earlier, and one of the cooler things about that movie are this inclusion of this like dated Super 8 footage that gives it some history and some gravitas, and adds a creepy layer. And I thought it was a creative way to incorporate these dream sequences in a very Nightmare on Elm Street kind of setup that made it clear what was in a dreamscape, what was real, and the way it works up and builds into these horror set pieces are genuinely cool at certain points. Ethan Hawke is barely in this. It's mostly Mason Thames and Madeline McGraw. I think Mason Thames does a good job. There are a few characters that I really did enjoy, especially this guy Mando. He was a cool character. There is some weird cringy dialogue, kind of like the first movie, with this Ernesto guy talking about the Jesus turning him on or whatever. No, that wasn't the phrasing. I'm butchering the quote, but it's a Christian camp they're staying at, so it's one of the themes of the movie. Always like seeing Jeremy Davies. Liked his inclusion too. I don't know, I thought this was alright. I feel like with a few tweaks, just like Sinister, it could be really interesting and cool, but it's just slightly too long. Needed some better just whatever this green screen situation, like that just really hurt every scene with it, and there are quite a few. So I don't know if this is a case of my expectations just being so low because of that first movie that I'm finding more things to enjoy, but I would still much prefer to watch this one again. So yeah, not groundbreaking, probably barely ever going to think about this ever again. I don't think they need to make more of it, and I probably sound more positive than my rating, which I wound up giving 2.5 stars for this with a like. It's just a perfectly average, serviceable horror movie that didn't feel like a complete waste of time to sit through. Not the highest praise, but so let me know what you thought about the Black Phone 2. Sorry, Black Phone 2, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!